You have not been to one of these live videos before, my name is Colleen Mitchell. I am a life coach, a writer. I have a podcast on type 1 diabetes called This is Type 1, and I also work full time in the power industry. I am classically trained as an engineer, and I work with a lot of engineers, so it's kind of useful to have that degree. Today I want to talk about the concept of infinite worth. And I want to start off by asking you a question. Did you know that you cannot do, say, or behave any way that will take away your worth? Everyone has infinite worth. But we forget that a lot. We live inside our own heads. We're thinking about how everything affects us because we are the most important person in our lives. We don't consider the needs, challenges, and goals that other people have, and then we judge them when they get in our way, or if they cut us off in traffic, or walk slowly down like a narrow sidewalk. I have that a lot, actually. People who walk slowly on narrow sidewalks. Good morning, Kelly. It's nice to have you here. But if we kind of pause and realize that everyone has a life as rich as ours, as real as ours, and as significant as ours, we may end up feeling very small and guilty because we forgot that that other person is just as worthy as we are, infinitely worthy. We also tie our sense of self-worth to our accomplishments, our achievements, whether or not we followed the life script our parents gave us, how much money we make or don't make, what our families look like, what jobs we have, how long it took us to do something. The list goes on and on. You have your own list, I have mine. When we create a connection between our internal sense of worthiness and an external force that we may or may not have control over, and usually we don't have control over it, I can almost guarantee that we'll end up feeling worth less more than worthy. But we don't have to earn our space on this planet. We are worth being here because we're already here. As a Christian, I believe that everyone has a purpose in life. Some people find that purpose and they live into it, and others flounder the whole time, thinking they don't belong here or have to do something to prove that they're worth it. But nothing that you do or don't do can take away that infinite worth. And nothing you do or don't do can add to it either. It's always there. And most people will have a hard time wrapping their brains around this. You might too. I know I did. And that's okay. It's not a concept that parents or teachers actually impart to us while we're growing up. It's just not something that we learn. Another coaching program by Aline Burns-Zare, she says, each of us makes a difference. Wherever we are and whatever we are doing in our daily lives, there are opportunities to recognize the infinite worth of others and ourselves. Even in the simplest ways, our intentions and actions can bring greater kindness and hope to our world. So, because our brain's job is literally to keep us alive, and I mean, up to this point, they've been doing a really good job of that because we're, still alive, it does its best to put us at the center of our universes. On default, we live our lives according to the motivational triad, and that's to pursue pleasure, decrease pain, and conserve energy. If we're considering the perspective of other people, that takes effort. It also might increase our pain level if we realize how we've been treating others as less than ourselves. It's probably not pleasurable to think that way, so our brains avoid it. But when we recognize that everyone has the same infinite worth, it means that our experience of life can expand so much that we probably won't even believe what we've been missing by being wrapped up in our own little worlds all the time. As humans, we naturally judge other people as better or worse than ourselves based on our own worldview and how we think things should be. But because we're not other people, we can't know what is or isn't good for another person. We can't know what their perspective truly is or what it's like to live in their life. But we can recognize that they have that infinite worth. And so do you. So maybe you've struggled with identifying that infinite worth inside yourself. You're caught up in self-talk about how you're not enough, you're not worth it, you should be better, know better, and so on. Our brains love to do this to ourselves. I want you to try to interrupt those thoughts. Every time you notice the trend that those thoughts are having in your brain, redirect your brain to something that you can believe about yourself that isn't as negative. So you might currently be thinking, I'm not enough, and you want to try to move to, I'm human, and that's okay. Or maybe you're going from, I can't do this, to, I'm willing to consider I could do this. From I'm not worth it to it's possible that I am worth it. And just see what happens. Over time, your brain will build new neural pathways that support the belief of infinite worth. And over time, you may notice that your interactions with other infinitely worthy people gets better too. We are all in this same storm of life. We all have needs, challenges, and objectives, and we're all usually the center of our own worlds. And that's okay. But we can also learn how to show that same level of consideration that we show ourselves to other people. And there's no downside to that. So if you want someone to talk through your struggles with this feeling of enoughness or the idea that you are infinitely worthy, please send me a message. I can help you out. So next week, we're talking about the idea of strategic laziness. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a fun one because who doesn't like being lazy? So I will see you guys next week. Bye.